Chapter 2 Igloo Days and a Fiery Spike in Time. Bad Moon Rising. What to say when every day things that seem okay just facade to looming chaos? What to say when every day more signs of the promising lull? Attending concerts knowing the artist is running out of time, dying to live. And the ads out of touch. Swipe up to get this, to look like that. Life too easy, everyone still wanted in. Fooled twice already. Now is the gun. Major holidays marked down, innocuously on weekends straight through. Party year to be with the angst to roar again. Presently, what a tease. What to say of that? That coincidence is a myth and my being off is being on. For the year to be was prime, stalked with stymies of knots and dying stars. That final recess etched in memory. Hindsight files as euphoria. A pendulum's momentum. Twin lilts between the seesaw and swing. Knowing tides were turning. That first big graduation. Knowing I'd never see most of my childhood again. Saturn is soon to return. Therefore a zeitgeist is due for a bad moon rising. A year right on time when you backtrack by the 50s. As many states as years between breaking points, each state a national trigger. A gift to mankind for these next 50 entreat new tools. But the old guard still stands. This land's mean considerably higher than 50 ago. They're still here yapping. They're capping now. And I'm led to question inherent wisdom of gray. Facebook runs ads, Congressman. World War III. Before we saw how the year would spiral, World War III was lead joke in this stand-up. Feels like eons ago when it crossed my Twitter feed. When my non-militant American privilege allowed me to shrug it off because no way, whatever they say, it cannot be. 3? Timing isn't right. Later in life, when we've all put our guards back up, then maybe. Our guards are up. Tension always high for a time, going on many years now. Tension of sex, not death or threat. Foreplay with a Twitter feed, I lick my lips to get dragged. All the same, even still, the memes are fire when most under siege. Okay, boomer, but what about now? I'm kicking and screaming for change. I've paid for my 2-day shipping. Results should be here now. Remember to keep a thumbs up for the most dope kids. An ode from an ode, as if that's fair. False promise, premise, platitude, the concept of circles. Easy Mac with the cheesy raps was kicking incredibly dope shit, and Donald Trump was running the world almost a decade before a deal was made with art. Vision so keen the best day ever sensationalized and soothed into Larry Lovestein and the Velvet Revival. But bills are due at the Frick Park Market, and Blue Slide Park was heard but not felt just yet. Their addictions caused them to become imprisoned in a world of delusion and desperation. Delusional Thomas, an extra in said film, shined bright when he was watching movies with the sound off. Celebrate the depression we will because we're all of it too. All its faces. Malcolm, Matt, Thomas, Larry, who are we? Where are we? As the film progresses, each character deteriorates, and the reality is overtaken by delusion, resulting in catastrophe. Maybe it was as good as it got that AM. The wanted and unwanted sounded clear. For just a moment, sights were set beyond the infamous club. But to fall in love is to fall for life, and it's after and always, together already. Yin and yang to stay as a divine feminine, a grown version of the Velvet Revival ready for the surface, to swim to shore, swimming to that life and death. I realized the self is an angel and a demon. Larry is Mac is Thomas. One shy of the club, never interested in technicality. A decade of limelight from that senior skip day in the Blue Slide Park. Outside looking in and inside looking out, lifetimes occurred here. Swimming perfect circles at God's speed. A story begins with a record of death, but we're born here. Our hearts are with Mac Miller, so who the fuck are you? Human nature. 'Twas a Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday after Sunday. 3 docks to cover the time. Our most famous Asian American icon said, "Be like water." The flow of the clip makes it believable that we have not been, though I get what he means. Already water, the most terrifying substance on earth. Basically, everything and of no sense. Lighter when heavier, only finding connection for a blink. Motor skills a swipe for a partner in the sheets. Already forgotten by time of first meet. In the middle, fixed, pour into anything, running to the sides. And surface tension anxiety drags down those stacked on demons. The threshold of truth in sight, holding hands with the offensive. Brimming hopes bead on forehead as stranger hands hold the middle. Stiff and fixed, rising with heat a second ago seemed cold, the most terrifying substance on earth already possessed. Years emulating one always been. Maybe this is all a game. So torrid when said, "Be like water." That always been. Though who knows if it's possible to catch the self. Vapor a form too. The Second Coming, Deluxe. A tribute to The Second Coming of 1920 by William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the tweeter cannot hear the citizen. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Petrol plummets with cars stalled. Double the screens inside our walls, and everywhere living rooms turn back to their origins of death rooms. The worst are not all wrong, while the best not all right. And it no longer matters because our default is to presume acts of war will tell truth. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand again. Arts are lost in its language, mindfulness back again, but commodified need be. Spiritus Mundi and Tempus Nullis don't sell records, and this troubles my sight. Infinitely in a nexus point with a welcome mat perceived as gloves up, because you must pick a side in the days of this thing or bust. A black man writing in homage to the Irish, who just wanted to get and give back to his roots, but I'm not Garvey even though America never loved us both. The darkness of the C word, colonialized colored cunt, covers many bases. And the past stinks, but it wears us again to ask if we will repress or redress. Same stars and colors with a new majority. I'm finally America now too. And what a rough beast, the past century. No, God, let's not run it back, but keep running. For this is my century of impact. Procrastination practice. There is a tension regarding What is going on? Borders are closed. Vacations are halted. Can my kids come back to the States? We should have done this weeks ago. It's too late now. How can you close the economy? Everyone work from home. I need a new laptop for the home office. The Wi-Fi is slow. Everyone is streaming all the time now. The kids are taken out of school. There are 6 of us at home now. I can't get anything done. Okay, this is better now. I've got this. I can do this. We can do this. Everyone do their part. This isn't that hard. This is valuable family time. Let's save the environment. Oh, the fish are already returning to the streams and water is clear again, but monkeys are fighting because they are not humans to throw food. We have turned nature against itself, or is it naturally indifferent anyways? We are used to taking over. Maybe this is a good thing. Tiger King is funny and I can totally get my workout routine done with this free workout app. Being with the family is so nice and I get $1,200. Everyone should stop complaining. Can you believe that Carol Baskin lady? She must have killed her husband. We gave her so much attention. She is on Dancing with the Stars. Morals aside, they knew we would be watching because we don't really care if she killed her husband or not. Our commander-in-chief said grab them by the pussy and we did not care, at least when we should have cared anyways. I finally got some toilet paper. I had to have someone mail me a roll last week. My masks are still on the way. Shipping is horrible. Jeff Bezos has to be making a fortune. My friend's grandmother caught the virus and died while her husband wasn't allowed to see her, but through a glass window. He died days later of a heartbreak. I've been with the family too long and the kids are driving me crazy. I've been let go from work and my wife too. Can Emily even go back to college in the fall? Wear a mask. OMG BLM. How can I learn about white privilege? I'm 30 and I've realized my parents are racist. I posted a black square on Instagram. Wear a mask. I can't believe we are reopening. I knew it wouldn't work. How to live in America. How to live in America. The medical looking one dangling from the mirror with expired air fresheners. Phone, wallet, keys, mask. Do you know how to play MASH? It's not fuck, marry, kill, but almost. Something like Russian roulette, but with a mask. Plain and simple, either all white or all black. When not in use, my young millennial has it dangling from one ear, cross-earring dangling from the other. Fashion is religion and not the other way around. God gave man breath. How dare you restrict it, said a usually silent majority. A mask for every occasion, since we'll be here for a while. No more poking fun at the Japs and their masks, though that concern is for air quality, but hardly a difference anymore. So, is it a mansion you speak from, claiming to be bored, or the apartment singing with company at sundown from the balcony? From the street they scream, packed together, but hey, they've got masks. Middle class, from the house, on the fence deemed the American dream, pondering to stay bound or to shout. Riot, I mean. To play mask every day, accessorize and moisturize in the games we play, in the fuss we make. It's Russian roulette, in a way. There's a COVID-19 party tonight. I must party. Do you party? It's all a hoax. Fuck with the other perspective. Kill the fake news. Marry my prejudice. That's how we play. The Western Fourth Tier. Fireworks still go. For every life lost, brought over, shipped out, rust shackled, or cajoled. Natives annually given thanks. Down with CC's damned curiosity. For thee, imperfect man be banned. Every life lost forth, fireworks still go. Many stars over, what version of the flag be the end? Oozing fluidity, 'twas its essence, constant conception of concept instead of inception. Points too pedantic, now movements of thee, hashtag, instead of martyrs. Bring forth thee, iconoclasts, and rid thee, charlatans, for children know not a difference. Wooden spokes to steel axles from before we kept track of time. Ford, damned by thee, assembly line and square dance. Thee, essence of McDonald's and minimum wage. A spark to anti-Semitism, thus a spark to thee, moon. For thee, fourth, Ford wanted to dance with his wife and made sure the kids were dancing too. maybe lasso the moon. Jazz, too much like Dada, a maker of the future desiring dance as foundation, because Lady Ford wanted to, so band be the car? And maybe the question simply is, I struggle to see Christopher like Hitler, though I could believe they thought hideously of other beings not like them, the same. But then I must conceive Columbus closer to Satan than Adolf, and that can just not be. To live, breathe, be that far from the sun, reality, hardly what I want. If I could have wished for anything, the feeling of sand between the toes would have eclipsed my best thought completely. Maybe I don't have a question to ask. Apologies. Regardless of me, fireworks still go for thee. Yellow Society. Truth of Thoreau, truth of Roosevelt, fear itself a soul stymie. Between souls of tension, rumble the depressed towards extremism behind facade of America First. The committee that first meant to not engage in acts of tactics of war, though simply the desire fueled by more cows. Lamented in fabric waving towards attention stolen away from other colors, vigorous in pride, in strength. Contemporary platitudes breed cynical cynicism, amidst melee under supposed quiet times rifts a community. Society, I mean. Commune, necessary and unwarranted. The prolecap scares again. Lately, I've felt kind of blue whilst seeing red, 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 red. But what am I gonna do? Children identify rays of sun as yellow, then add orange when context shows layers conception bequeathed, then red outlines expressing intention, secret truth, I mean. Then blue of imagination as some ethereal flame, our first sun color forgotten, attention stolen as we scare of red, scar of cows, score of platitudes, drawn in stick figures, Republicans and Democrats, Yellow Society. First time out. I came for R&R not knowing that I owed the ocean time. I prayed for health and solicitude, but I owed the ocean time. I sat for hours after months inside, and I owed the ocean time. I found R&R gazing at lovely rears and racks when I owed the ocean time. I thought to replace it then and there. I owed the ocean time. I stopped to realize how grand it is that I owed the ocean time. May it tick and talk to Spain, my giveaway. Haiku 1 of 2. Free Hong Kong after Tiananmen Square, hundreds. Free speech not, but let. Haiku 2 of 2. June 4th incident. Modern take for old time's sake. Soon lead GDP. Mamba postpartum. 6 months since a copter went down with a golden child. Eight 2/24. Is it pure? What would such an endeavor appear to be? Seeing Jesus present himself, would we know it? Released UFO sightings with answers we aren't ready for. Is it pure? 2 seasons without rush hour. Home gardening spikes. Breathing inside is daunting a feat, and our primary definitions front the second for vice, The fight of our lives in a time marinated in a brief stay away. WFH. The domestic sojourn of civility. Still not flexible enough to use our words. Fortnite primed for a return. Epic Games filing antitrust against modern monopolies. Likely to lose since it's still a game in the fight of our lives. And sometimes I wonder, is it pure? The season's soon to change the same color, or shift another direction with rifts that would tear fabric, the same but different because extremism stresses both sides and I'm not sure we'd know Jesus if he presented himself, and sometimes I wonder, is it pure? Split the same way. 12 months for the even split, but the years tied rifts between 7 and 8. In this one, the child's game wins in 7, 8, 9. Because it appears like March was yesterday and summer is over. June and July win. Twins bleeding as days of the summer, and niggas get dealt with then. Judgment is due for our devotion to toll the bells or not to toll the bells. A child dependent. A nation's children, no island. Is one death too many? One should diminish thee. Star-spangled protest. Marching since yesterday is long like 50 days straight in Portland, but short like days since Emmett Till's birthday. George Floyd's murder. Emmett's life opened at 7 and closed at 8 sharp. The beginning of hurricane season and 100 days until the election. Till, Biden, Trump. 1940s babies. Theory of lines. From those splintered spines and divine doves, love draws. Whether drudgery stems, updating my license, or excitement from roller coasters, love draws. With an L, it's southern, covered in hospitality. The baked beans cross plate borders to kiss the mac and cheese. Love draws. Tension of family gatherings and packed stadiums and euphoric concerts and sales at the mall. Love draws. From history of revolutionaries that have given me a turn to exist in earnest benevolence. How everything is a comma at best since a line never does stop. And I'm not sure if the theory was on lines or love, but two things can be true. Love draws. Though I struggle to play and fully describe for granted like a deck of cards, love draws. Lines that went away, this soul won't hesitate, taking my time and turn, drawing lines of love in earnest benevolence. The most elusive truth. The God of truth hides in plain sight under the guise of Waldo. We see truth every day in our games and do not take it seriously. Much easier it would be to speak, honestly, but the slogans clothe us. Heaven is the question to hell's certainty. A question wields more power than a period, certainly. Evil verdicts are the guarantee. Society of men, someone must play God. Devices, resources, without outlets, Lord, who do we charge? The divide is highlighted, justice to the bullets in the wall. Jules pleads divine intervention before biblical monologue. Vincent shrugs, there's no such thing. Bullets find themselves in Vincent by his fellow, the Anglo who saves Marcellus. Waldo, Lord, I'm in the middle of the intersection trying to not get my head blown off. The games we play, these trials we stage, which are you? Forever the most elusive truth. The last futurist exhibition. Blacks, If it is silence that is black, that too is fine. Without silence, there is no sound. And when I say void, think cloak. The future is underneath, the distant cousin to through. Before humanity needed binary, all eternity's color waited to drip from black. Maybe the apple of sin was demarcating black as that. From flash and shine we resolved with meaning of cruelty, swine. White glue stuck, until it began to see lives as rival, battle and grounds and zeros of Negroes, apparently. The white man hates themselves and hides us within, as if I were not born to mean outside, unbound. As intense a scroll to give, one after another, there is a color of black so black it appears as void, if that is a statement at all. Solidarity with the movement as apparent as stolid stoics drunk by sundown. Pure in form a perfect century later, a do-over is this? Having just practiced a century of race and how we love to hate harm each other, this new black square at least is perfect in form. Indulge morbidity to reshape conception of the shade of space. Our neighbors say Dia de los Muertos, because that is a future here too. The former square of pent-up revolt ruminated over the first drips for years. Should we see Blackout Tuesday and hashtag the show must be paused again and again, maybe the kids will take a third week in January seriously again. Being seen in and from absence, a history of black cannot be grasped, it is smoke. By closing your eyes in a dark room, from the ocean floor, falling in space, dripping. Only the claw of God may carry its weight. The history of black is the history of space, between people, molecules, galaxies, realities. S, not Superman. Seldom more satiating than the black power fist, stolid outside the trunk window directed at me. Sidewalk running against the traffic, saddled in the forever present, serendipitously living our best lives. Servants, today, settle away from our history. Today is as good as it's ever been. Space-time continuum, stretching in me like the owl looking backwards, flying forwards. Steady thee, ship forward. This is halftime and there's much struggle in finishing this fight, though sadness we feel too. Therefore left caroling softly souls of the other S word, not Superman. Weather and other things. Whether or not you're into climate change does not matter to me. Water rises and people are screaming, moving, I mean. Most hurricanes in one season. 2 full moons blew on Halloween for the first time since 1944. Asteroid scheduled to hit Election Day. But you think these are not signs? Okay. The week of October 1st, 2020. Everything a needle, a bomb, pressure points cropped into memes, a hashtag birdsong. Succulents multiply, interior designs sap for minimal longevity. Time and home and interstice, new normals emerge from lockdown activity. First week of the first double-digit month, demarcated by the ultimate twos. Bubbled stars and lightning of white, bubbled Lakers and heat of black. We'll have our champions soon, live concurrent mannerisms of red and blue. Stained as average, blue. against arbiter of what's fake, red, the highest stakes. Everything a needle, a bomb, digital landmines, and WAP was the song of summer. But sex will always sell, I get it. All the books ordered to water our souls in summer, to be appreciated or ignored in vain. Rush hour is real again, and there are more sonograms than normal. Leaves are falling. The workforce reconsiders new color in its claim of equality. During the week of 2 finals begins a new clock of final candidates, each in their own way. Of all things, it is this that's a popcorn-primed event. Somehow there's no bigger joke than the reality of our own fate. Everything a needle, a bomb. Too sensitive and offended. Critique isn't always negative criticism. Every soul forced to dwell in the home we built, duty-bound to choose cynicism. The new zeitgeist may be a plague of centenarians, my future cripples, no crusaders. Fall brings new present tensions, and secular society may outwit its own clever. Some perfect warren of sociality fed to seek when it's not much we need. After this round, it is clarity that is paramount, because everything does not have to be a needle, a bomb. Verge of the persistence of memory. The day has been surreal for some time now, but absolutely past in the week. It's now here, the day of evolution, democratic such a feat. Will we go where? We know not, maybe even for days, in either way. I put this down now and wait and enjoy the day with the grandest haze. Time has told. It's Joe. It's Joe. It's Joe in the most powerful seat. It is true, inspiration is everywhere. The sun touches about the interstice of discernment between coincidence and reason. I choose not to believe. Where I find validation for something I cannot explain. I was not born yesterday. Mandela imprisoned for 27 years. Years of his life that made him more capable than many men. Shackles I am foreign to, but barriers know me. To examine an era of time I can attest to, akin to Nelson's time of bars. Spare me and allow me to conjure a strength I cannot explain for my better tomorrow. Society. I learned to hate since I could talk, because using my tongue the same as kids who took etiquette class took me out of my race. The same reason made my similar shade crude too. 2 years of elementary, banned from recess because I was faster, and that was not fair. Either way. Along the gates where kids did not play, I spent time with moths, and years later, cherry blossoms have saved my sanity. True scenes that spared me from years of shackles because I knew a space alone, early, and loved knowing the ground and language of my footprint. I have met misunderstanding every day since elementary and relished them, because if they do not know by now, imagine the sprouts they could bud. Spare me if I love when I meet hate, misunderstanding. Here I am, grounded, ma'am. And have you looked at your roots, long enough to leave and live properly? In the year of my Saturn return, zeitgeist, transplanted in a state for my craved vocation, with as many S's as seasons that do not say Superman. Where my ancestors staked these lines first, not of their primary choice. Where that genre, shade of tint, mood, first soothed, the tension of heat, under the sky of babies sold for free but not born of thee. How damn silly would my ancestors look at me, knowing we tripped over matters concerning to knee or not to knee. Foolish they'd find every version of me. Citizen. Since it's within rights, that is, angst understandable if I'm to be without any. Where have we gotten since those years of to knee or not? Foolish, worthless, probably. I drive in a land in something of a rocket to my ancestors for them to understand? I think not. But for them to see me blazing across prairies, screens, pages. Neat, proud, probably. For them and I, effortlessly I must appear to society. To write about home I am, centuries later deposed, but still home, finally. Asked so many times why a state with so many S's not of Superman. For me. As if I had a choice where and when I was born in order to do and be who I need, to breathe at a rate necessary, to see profoundly, worthy of mythological respect, so grand it garners the scope of many gods to one day answer to the soul, respectfully, versed and not spat, to think of myself highly and minutely, boldly and malleably, of a motherland across a sea and of western city, settled and brought to start a phase so historic and earnest, I pull a tent out from my soul onto a page to hopefully breathe at a spate seeped into destiny of a society that can do no wrong on its own, but together maybe a little better when worried about matters a little larger than caps. Still retorted with deference and power of yes and no, ma'ams. A celestial year, inner and outer. For me, definitely, though this year looked mutually inclusive. I caught the sunrise at the right time with clear skies, while the moon was setting too. And no more was I at peace than between such a yin and yang, and full moons on the annual celebration of a scary night, and two planets so far away I cannot fathom on the distance it hurts to consider. But from my balcony a pinky between them, at best. Last time such sights so clear this country was a consideration, at best. And in this new normal, where the modern American pastime is this peacetime advent war game called football, on defense it is about bending, not breaking. But I do not know how much longer we get to play the same game by the same rules in this new normal. Wages raised and eyebrows lifted, procedurally granted, taking our bodies past their limits, closer to infinity. Or the distance to and between Jupiter and Saturn. A conundrum of conjecture, desired. For every soccer mom who gets Botox, an inner city kid gets their wings. Anyway, if I'm on track, that is, dust only settles for a while, until there is a storm again. But the moon is a sliver, yet it will be full again. The proverbial glass, idle whilst stimulating, half full again. Opportunity there is, always, a catch to be made and thrown between the sun and the moon. It's now 2021. And only bots are listening, while I wonder where and whether the people are. Trapped in their own isms. Cataclysm. That's cheap. Brimstone at Pride Rock in a battle for the divided space of A. Brimming of opportunity and kibosh. My fat lady sang in the clock, it turns. Terms, they end, while concepts form, less from evil but rather angels, first assumed. To be before it is not, only purity of intent merits not, only the soul but its action too. Consequential's detail worthiness, its counterpart, can add strain and question marks. Intention rises so tightly, the unremarkable becomes new facade, because polarity becomes taxing when nobody knows the cost. Odds, of extradition of ideas and logins. Why so much tension? Stated abnormally throughout, maybe, but it feels like the word of the year, century, really. Of centuries, truthfully, something always present. But not examined, assumed to sit though it boils, more likely. And if it is in everything, a philosopher may pose, if it exists at all. Suddenly, there goes a new period of thought across the globe. It is in the thorns of rose bushes, like the hair on her legs, armpits, vagina. If you dare to sniff, it should indeed prickle. Of course, it feels a little bit. Then it wets and is comfortable like home. I refuse to shun a prickle of life away. Though maintained, of course, is the balance of life. Game. I acquiesce that I live in a time where I may be asked for a social and not know to give 9 digits or my @ I practice the act of knowing myself across more platforms than days of the week. Fallacy it seems, but life is but a dream, they say. And suddenly there was light. Yahweh.